Everybody, are we good? Am I waiting on anyone? Okay. Let me start by thanking all of you for joining us here today. I want to start this press conference by offering my condolences to those dealing with all of the emotions and frustrations around and surrounding these absolutely terrible circumstances. Our prayers and our thoughts go to the family. From the beginning, every agency that was involved in this investigation has been in constant communication with one another and worked tirelessly towards one common goal, and I can say that now our goal has always been to seek justice for Jacqueline Torres. I want to thank the men and women that are standing behind me who have been working around the clock to get us to this point. There have been a very concerning amount of rumors and mistruths that have been posted all over social media, and our goal today is to provide you with as many of the facts as we can. On a personal note, as a mother, this makes me sick to my stomach to be standing here today with what we're about to tell you. On Wednesday, October 8th, when a report of suspicious activity at 80 Clark Street in New Britain came in from an anonymous caller requesting police, responding officers had no idea what they would be walking into. This caller reported suspicious activity at a known abandoned house in their neighborhood. This house had been vacant for over 2 years, and it was owned and is owned by an out-of-state landlord from New York. None of those determined to be involved with this case have ever resided at this property. I want to thank the initial caller for speaking up, for having the courage to say something. Without that initial call, no one can say for certain where we would be at this point in time. I want to welcome to the podium the Farmington Town Council Chair, Joe Capodiferro, to offer a few words.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Joe Capodiferro, I'm the Town Council Chair of Farmington. I can't really add too much more to what the Mayor just said, but first, I want to offer my condolences to everybody that's been affected in this tragedy. This type of investigation not only has affected the community, but also all that have worked in this investigation to bring justice for Jacqueline. I want to thank the members of the Farmington Police Department, New Britain Police Department, Connecticut State Police, the State's Attorney's Offices of New Britain and Litchfield, and the Chief of Medical Examiner's Office. And I'll turn it back over to the Mayor.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for your partnership and all the cooperation with the town of Farmington. This time, I'd like to invite to the podium the Chief of Police of the City of New Britain, Matthew Marino.
Thank you, Mayor. First, on behalf of all the men and women here from the New Britain Police Department and the Farmington Police Department, I'd like to echo the Mayor's initial remarks and offer our sincerest condolences to those impacted by this tragedy. There are no words that can make sense of a situation like this. Since October 8th, it has been the goal of every law enforcement agency involved to seek justice. While the limited information provided until today undoubtedly resulted in increased frustration across our communities, the purpose was to avoid any potential damage to the integrity of this investigation. To suggest any other explanation is an unfair judgment on the people you see standing behind me. This was not easy for anyone, and we should all take the time to recognize that their efforts are what brought us to this point, less than a week later. Now I'd like to give everyone a bit of a timeline. After responding officers made their initial discovery, the property of 80 Clark Street was established as a crime scene. Based on discussions with the New Britain State's Attorney's Office, the Connecticut State Police Central District Major Crimes Unit was requested to assist with processing this scene. At that time, the remains discovered inside the plastic storage bin were in an advanced state of decomposition. As a result, arrangements were made with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner for assistance. Members of our detective division continued to piece together what limited information was available to better determine a timeline and possible sequence of events leading up to our initial response. Through a cooperative and intensive investigation involving our department, the Farmington Police Department, Connecticut State Police, the Office of the State's Attorney for the Judicial Districts of Litchfield and New Britain, and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the child we found was positively identified as 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Now, while our efforts continued, we were made aware of and monitored several pieces of information circling different social media outlets, and I'd like to dispel some of those rumors. At no point during the course of this investigation was anyone arrested, then released. Several individuals were brought in for interviews at different times over the last 5 days, but no official arrests were made until last night. At no point were requests for information being ignored. The limited information provided since last Wednesday came after careful consideration and much conversation with every agency involved, with the sole purpose of seeking justice for Jacqueline by not compromising any part of this investigation. Any notifications that were made carefully by law enforcement officers in accordance with state guidelines and not done in any way that could create doubt or conflict regarding procedure being followed. And now at this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Chief Paul Melanson of the Farmington Police Department, who has additional information.
Thank you. Investigators from the Farmington Police Department, with the assistance from the New Britain Police Department, have determined that Jacqueline likely died in the fall of 2024 while her family was still residing in Farmington. Evidence indicates that Jacqueline was the victim of prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment prior to her death. It is also believed that following her death, Jacqueline's body was kept in the family's basement and subsequently moved when the family relocated from Farmington in March of 2025. As a result of our investigation, 2 individuals have been taken into custody in connection with Jacqueline's death. Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, was located last night by members of the Farmington and New Britain Police Departments and arrested on the strength of an arrest warrant charging her with Connecticut General Statute 53A-54B, which is murder with special circumstances, along with several other additional charges. Carla's sister, Jacqueline Garcia, was also arrested and charged with Connecticut General Statute 53-20, cruelty to persons under 19 years of age, along with other related charges. Jonathan Nanita, Carla's boyfriend, has an active arrest warrant, which is also charging him with 53A-54B murder with special circumstances, amongst other charges. Additionally, the New Britain Police Department also has obtained an arrest warrant charging Jonathan with 53A-155 tampering with physical evidence for actions taken leading up to the initial police response to 80 Clark Street and the subsequent discovery in the rear yard. A complete list of charges for each of the individuals will be made available at the end of the remarks. But out of respect for all those affected and to ensure the integrity, like Chief Marino had said, of the ongoing investigation, we will not be releasing further details at this time. This case is a deeply heartbreaking and disturbing case. Our detectives, with our local and state partners, have worked tirelessly to uncover the truth and to bring justice for Jacqueline. No child should ever have to endure such suffering. On behalf of the New Britain and Farmington Police Departments, we extend our deepest condolences to all who have been affected by this tragedy.
Thank you, Chief. Today is about providing the facts that we have available from here. The court system will take it and prosecute to the highest extent of the law. I'd like to again send our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Jacqueline Torres, and I would like to open it up for questions now.
Can you tell us the bonds on the individuals?
$5 million.
For 2 already, and
So Carla Garcia is a $5 million bond. Jacqueline Garcia is a $1 million bond. And we have yet to pick up, and we are asking for the public's assistance in locating Jonathan. And he does have a $5 million bond on his also.
Are they both expected in court tomorrow?
Yes.
Chief, can you talk anything about motive, anything along those lines at all? What happened here?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think, much like Chief Melanson had said, it's important at this point to leave out some of those major details involved in this case in order to allow for the entire investigation to play itself out.
Have there been any reports that she'd been missing? Had anybody raised concerns, either from school districts or anybody, about where she'd been for months?
No.
Can you share anything about the history of any of the people involved as far as their criminal history or any prior interactions with law enforcement?
Yeah, we don't have many details at this time. I know that there are reports that have been circling involving some of their criminal histories. We do have limited involvement with each of the people that are involved. Some of it dates back a couple years, some more recent. I can tell you that the most recent interaction we have was a simple motor vehicle stop that resulted in an infraction, but there was not much more than that.
Can you tell us if DCF, do you know if DCF was called prior to any of this? Do they have a case with them?
Did you want to take that one, Mayor?
I know you can't give details, but does DCF, do they have a case prior,
Yep. DCF was involved.
prior to this going on? They did have
Yep.
involvement with the family.
Yes.
Is there a second child involved? Probably the sister. Maybe we could talk about this.
As far as this investigation is concerned, there's no other reports involving any of the other children that are involved.
Are any other children safe, from this family?
Yeah, during our investigation, contact was made and all of the other children were determined to be safe.
Can one of the chiefs talk about the toll this takes on the men and women dealing with this kind of a case and what you found?
So, I mean, obviously, we handle many types of crimes in our line of work. The ones with kids are probably the most difficult, and obviously, the people standing behind me have been working since this call came in nonstop, 24/7. So it takes a toll mentally, physically, and it's very difficult for us to contemplate how this can happen in a civilized society like ours. So 35 years, this is probably one of the worst cases that we've had to, I think the facts that you have, that she probably died a long time ago and was stowed away is probably enough to show you what we are dealing with here. So yes, no, very, very difficult on everybody handling these cases.
Has the report come back from the medical examiner's office in terms of cause and manner?
No, so we currently have just a verbal right now, but obviously any official report will wait for toxicology results and other sorts of things. So we won't have any reports from the medical examiner for a short period of time other than their verbal report to the detectives. And I won't get too far into it. We have sealed the warrants because we are asking anybody who has any other information. People have called since this has been publicized, and we're really asking for anybody else who has any information to come forward and contact either the New Britain or Farmington Police Department, whoever you're comfortable contacting. We are working hand in hand, and everybody had said it. You know, our goal from the start of this was to bring justice for whoever murdered Jacqueline, and that's what we think that we have started to do last night by taking 2 into custody. But this doesn't end here, right? Like any investigation like this, this will go on and on for the days, months, and actually years to come. So we will still continue to look up any lead that we can, but we really do need anybody who has any information about this to please contact one of the police departments, which is why we do not want to release too many details, because we are looking for people to come forward who have some firsthand information on it.
I know you're working on a timeline. Do we know exactly when was the girl brought to this abandoned location, or if that could be said?
No, not specifically. We do have, like the mayor touched on, the initial caller that called in. Those are circumstances and details that are a part of the overall investigation. Again, we thank that caller for coming forward. It took a lot of courage to do that based on what we've learned since our initial response. But like Chief Melanson has said, a lot of those finer details are going to remain with the case while the court process plays itself out.
Are you able to clarify who allegedly killed her and who then allegedly moved the body then to New Britain?
So if you look at the charges, you will see that both Carla and Jonathan were both charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. So I think that speaks for itself.
And if you could give us, I know you said Jonathan, Juanita, can we have that spelled out since we want to
Yep.
give that call out to the public?
And I will give you afterwards, there are some copies of a press release which have actually the mugshots, the charges for the two who were arrested, and also the charges for Jonathan and his descriptors. But it's Jonatan, and the last name is Nanita.
Does anyone know when the last time she was seen or at school?
I'm going to be very careful with where we go with that. That's a part of, a large part of the investigation. There's been some information that's come forward between being removed from one school and entering another to being homeschooled. So I don't have the absolute specifics on that, but a lot of those finer details have come from the investigative steps taken by the men and women behind me and are a part of both affidavits that were presented to the state's attorney's office and a judge.
So at some point, somebody indicated they were homeschooling this
Correct.
child. Now, you also mentioned in March of 2025, the family moved, so remains were moved. Where did they move to? Do we know what town?
Again, that's also a part of this large-scale investigation that we'd like to keep those details a part of the affidavits. Again, touching on what Chief Melanson touched on, paying attention to the charges and the additional arrest warrant that we have for Jonathan Nanita. He was charged with tampering with evidence, which involves a large part of what you were asking.
You did say two were arrested yesterday. What was the state of the mom? Was she surprised that she found, was she?
Both were taken into custody without incident. There were additional interviews that took place, and then they were turned over to the Farmington Police Department, and they are expected in court tomorrow.
Which court? This court? Here in
Litchfield.
Litchfield.
So recently, as of October 1st, Farmington has fallen under the Litchfield Court District. So that's why we said we were working with the New Britain, obviously for what had transpired here. And previously, we had been a part of the Hartford Judicial District, and now, as of October 1st, we're part of Litchfield Judicial District. So that's why we have been working with them, and they will be presented tomorrow morning, the two that we have arrested to Litchfield.
And can you just clarify the suspicious activity that took place last week that was reported? Did that involve any of the suspects, or was that something else?
That involved the behavior that was witnessed in the rear property of 80 Clark Street. Again, more of the details have come out over the course of each investigation playing out with everybody involved. But the initial reports were that someone was in the rear of the property dropping off items to include that storage bin.
Was there any sort, we know she probably had physical abuse, malnutrition. Was there any sort of mutilation or anything to the body?
Not that we're aware of, no.
Lisa, just to answer the question you had about the school, just more directly, the last known registered schooling that she had was homeschool.
Thank you.
Any kind of reason so far as why, this property in particular was chosen to discard the remains?
Abandoned. There's no connection. The property has no connection. We would presume that it was a known abandoned property in the neighborhood. And the property owner is a absentee landlord from New York.
So the implication here is that he was dropping off this container the other day and somebody reported it?
questions? Thank you all. I'm sure there will be plenty more information to come.
Mom arrested on picked up on Tremont Street? Or was Mom picked up on Tremont Street?
Yes, located in front of us.
Oh, you know what, I'll have to check it out. Was there, the chief, I know the chief. Oh, hi, you said that.
We've met plenty of
Oh,
times.
you have?
Yeah, through my good friend Adam Rembers.
Oh, okay,